Well, guys, Donald Trump won, and the things that he promised are more likely than not coming. And there's not a lot of people that are going to exist in our government with the power to stop him, or slow him down even. Not for at least another 2 years if we have a midterm and can elect some Dems into the Senate and House. In the meantime, though, this is what you guys have to look forward to, or I should say to dread. The industries that could be the hardest hit by Trump's immigration crackdown. That's right, separate from even the deportations, the crackdown on immigration, legal immigration, is, among many other things, itself going to hurt our economy quite badly. And so experts are coming out to talk about what to expect and how badly the economy is going to be hit by Trump's crackdown on immigration. Just that. Not even counting his other economic policies projected to destroy the country's standing in the world economically. So these are the industries with the largest share of workers who are undocumented, thus will be deported if Trump does these mass deportations. As of 2022, mind you, so this is 2 years behind. Construction, nearly 14% of the industry are undocumented. 12% or 13% of the industry in agriculture, undocumented. Nearly 8% of the hospitality industry, undocumented. Nearly 7% of the general services industry, undocumented. Wholesale trade, about 6%. Transportation and warehousing, about 6%. Manufacturing, about 5%. Professional services, about 5%. Retail trade, about 4%. And mining and extraction, it's about 4% as well. That doesn't sound like a lot, but if you found out that you had a 13 or 12 or even an 8% drop in productivity and workers, that's a big deal when any industry across the board like that experiences such a massive drop. And that's just an average. Some areas, the statistics are far higher, I imagine. And so certain localities would probably be hit by this extra hard in a way that the data wouldn't suggest would be so severe. President-elect Trump's vow to deport millions of undocumented immigrants could eliminate workers from U.S. industries already projected to face shortages and cut up to 6.8% of the national gross domestic profit. While undocumented laborers make up a relatively small percentage of the total U.S. workforce, they have outsized roles in fields like construction, agriculture, and hospitality. Construction and agriculture workforces had the highest shares of undocumented workers as of 2022, per the American Immigration Council. Among the undocumented workforce, 39% of plasterers and stucco masons, 36% of drywall installers, ceiling tile installers and tapers, 36% of roofers, and 31% of painters and paper hangers. 28% of graders and sorters for agricultural products were undocumented, as well as 25% of miscellaneous agricultural workers. That's actually fucking insane. Most U.S. voters, about 75%, said that undocumented immigrants mostly fill jobs that American citizens don't want, according to October Pew Research report. Industries like hospitality, service, healthcare, construction, and agriculture would face labor shortages without immigrant labor, according to Center for Migration Studies. So it seems that the consensus is that even if we do these deportations, it's not like American citizens will come in and take up the work instead and will experience like a drop in unemployment or whatever. No, in fact, Americans just aren't taking these jobs, and so there's just going to be a massive vacuum in labor here. A one-time operation to deport undocumented immigrants would cost at least $315 billion, according to an October report from the American Immigration Council. Mass deportations could lead to a loss of about 4.2% to 6.8% of annual GDP, per the report, amounting to between $1.1 trillion and $1.7 trillion. For comparison, the national GDP declined 4.3% during the 2007 through 9 Great Recession. Mass deportations would also bring a heavy human toll. About 4 million mixed-status families could be separated, affecting 8.5 million U.S. citizens with undocumented family members. It could slash the incomes of their households by an average of nearly 63%, or about $51,000 per year, the report found. From 2003 to 2022, unauthorized immigrants made up a relatively narrow range of all U.S. workers, between 4% and 5.4%. That was only... that was from 2003 to 2022, it was like nothing then. And in the last few years, the amount of labor provided by immigrants has gone up substantially. So, holy crap. Like, years ago, it was already true that, like, getting rid of immigration would destroy our economy. It's even more true now than it was back then, and by magnitude so. Like, this is bad if Trump actually goes through with this. Like, really bad. This number is higher than the 3.3% of unauthorized immigrants in the total U.S. population because most undocumented people in the U.S. are workforce age per Pew. Context. Trump's deportation plans would use obscure laws, military funds, and law enforcement officers from all levels of government to deport millions of people. They would fast-track deportations and would be expanded to apply to anyone who illegally crossed the border and couldn't prove they'd been living in the U.S. for more than 2 years. Currently, they're just for recent crossers encountered near the border. So Trump could obviously expand this, but right away, it's already built in such a way where if you haven't been here or can prove you've been here for 2 or more years, they can get you right away. Trump's proposals would also curb legal immigration and limit asylum seeking, the New York Times reported. He repeatedly tried to restrict access to asylum during his first term. Trump on Monday said that he will declare a national emergency and use the U.S. military to carry out these mass deportations. This month, he tapped Tom Homan, the former acting head of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, as border czar for the next term, as he calls him the border czar. Homan, who had a role in the controversial family separation policy during Trump's first administration, has been a strong supporter of Trump's mass deportation plans. He also led the deportation branch within immigrations and customs enforcement under former President Obama. Here is what this entire situation will hopefully do. Hopefully, a lot of Americans are going to be impacted by this in the worst way possible, whether it be because of the economy or because someone close to them or someone that is close to them experiences their family being removed from the country. And I hope that the American people see this happen and they realize that it was never an over-exaggeration. It was never being just crazy triggered libs. It was always just believing Trump when he told us what he was. What's so depressing about all this is that Latinos, in particular, make up a pretty decent proportion of immigrants in this country, particularly undocumented immigrants. And so the fact that that demographic experienced such a significant shift towards Trump compared to voting for Biden in 2020, it goes to show that even with the knowledge, or at least with the point that Trump would or might do this out there, a lot of Latinos, many of which have family or friends or maybe know someone who's undocumented or know someone who knows someone who's undocumented, still voted for Trump. Hell, we watched that segment earlier today that was about a guy who is undocumented, a immigrant living in Houston, Texas, who supports Trump. He didn't vote for Trump, but he supports Trump. And even if he gets deported, he said he will go quietly, he will accept it, he will not argue, and he will not regret supporting Trump if he gets deported by him. Because, as he said, he just wants what's best for America. Genuinely, how can you be so cucked that you would vote for a guy that wants to deport you just because you think he will make the country that he'll deport you from more economically prosperous? It goes to show that the rhetoric against the Dems has gotten so inflamed and so popular and so normalized that groups that are actively being attacked will vote for the group attacking them because they've been brainwashed so effectively into opposing, in this case, the Dems. And don't get me wrong, we talked about it earlier. There is some racism, some sexism that's more common that might have played a factor into it. But I think a lot of it is really just the fact that most Americans, even within the like Latino demographic, don't really give a shit if countless Latino Americans end up getting deported from this country, separated from their families, if they lose their work, or if there ends up being a massive vacuum in employment and it results in a massive drop in economic viability for our country. They don't care. They've been bribed with something that sounds it's too good to be true, but it sounds too good to not vote for. And they voted for it anyway. And I don't know what we can do besides try to reach as many people as possible and show them what Trump is doing over the next 4 years and how he's not helping you, or helping them in order to change their mind. And to, of course, relentlessly bully them for the stupidity of their vote or their support of Trump if they did. Can you do that in time? And wouldn't the Republicans try to stall like they did in 2016, I think it was. Here's the thing. The GOP is far more MAGA now than it was back in 2016 and 2020. In the last 4 years, the Republicans have realized that MAGA is what wins more reliably for Republicans than anything else. And so they are hard leaning into that. There are very few never Trump, not MAGA Republicans in office. They exist, but man, Trump's not going to have a lot in his way. Like, I don't know if guardrails can do anything when there's no one in our government that's going to be willing to hold him to account for anything. He'll shut down entire departments that try to investigate him or hold him to account for things. He's got that power. So I don't know how this is going to go. Zan, Mississippi is so cooked under Trump. I think every red state is cooked under Trump, Green Moon 2040. I don't know, man. Listen, if you're undocumented or know someone who is undocumented, don't snitch. Don't talk about it. Don't text about it. Don't, like, it is a secret that you should consider the utmost of secrets going forward. You don't talk about it, not to friends, not to partners, not to family, not to trusted people. You don't text about it, especially. You don't talk about it on video or call. None of that. Do not be the person who accidentally gets a friend or family member deported. Because Donald Trump, I think he might mean it. I think he might mean it about this whole deportation thing, unless they're a Trump supporter. If they supported Trump, then make sure everyone knows. In that case, make sure everyone knows. Report them to ICE yourself if they supported Trump, obviously. Yeah. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this segment, if you thought it was entertaining, educational, informational, anything like that, consider dropping a like. Every single thumbs up can be considered like casting a blue ballot for YouTube to push my content in the algorithm to both new and old viewers alike. And of course, if you want to support me even further, you can leave a comment as well. Likes and comments combined are massively appreciated. Thank you to everybody who does that. And of course, if you want to see more from me on other platforms, you can follow my social medias linked down below, but especially make sure to hit the sub button and ring the bell icon so YouTube tells you when I go live or upload. And if you want to see more from me on my Discord server, like be able to talk to me and be part of events, make sure you join my Discord, link down below in the description. It's the main hub of my fan base and community and totally free to join. In fact, once a week I host gaming events, call-in streams, and watch parties there, so make sure you join if you want to be there for that. And finally, if you want to support me directly financially and you can afford it, and you want to help me keep a roof above my head and the lights on here at the Xander Hall studio, then please consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or supporting me financially through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or buying merch to the Streamlabs link down below. Regardless of how you support me, though, thank you all so much for watching as always, and have a good one.